Thank you very much, Mr. Baird.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate witness being here today and your background and experience. You already mentioned the New York Times article, so, and I know and I understand your address to that. But, and you can't you cannot probably comment on the supplemental rule. But I guess I'm wondering about, is there any scenario where whatever the version of the rule that might be finalized, this transparency rule would somehow invalidate the existing regulations? And you mentioned something about not going back, that whatever was based, the previous decision was based on, that might not change previous decisions. And so can you elaborate on any kind of a situation where that might invalidate existing rules? I guess what I'm trying to say is, after you've made a rule, and then you know your colleagues and so on do the research, and reproducibility and replicability end up being validation. So if you had additional research that proved what the previous rule and decision was maybe in error, can you adjust that?
So again,
rulemaking?
this particular rule, once it's finalized, would apply prospectively to future rules and regulations. It would not undo existing rules or regulations. It's only looking forward. And I think in the case of some statutes, whether it's NAAQS or a 6-year review of drinking water regulations, that would be an opportunity where new information can be considered in updating those particular activities, if that gets to what you're looking for.
We're getting close. You're on the right track in terms of, my question is, sometimes these rules end up impacting businesses and so on. The airborne rule for agriculture was one of those. I guess my question is, how fast can you make adjustments in the rule? I'm wondering if the process doesn't inhibit or
well,
detrimental
the agency follows the statutory requirements in developing its different rules and regulations. But the other thing to keep in mind is, first and foremost, we are about protecting public health and the environment. And we want to make sure that our decisions are sound and will meet the mission of the agency.
So I understand, and maybe I'll rephrase this. If you had, once the rule is finalized and it's put in place, but then if new data was available or became available that made you want to modify that rule, how long would it take to make a change in the rule?
It would
you have to go
depend
back
on-
clear through but the whole process?
So that would be in the policy side of EPA, and each would follow their statutory schedule of rulemaking and looking at the contaminants that they control under the different authorities. So it would follow that schedule. There wouldn't be any sort of increased schedule.
So that could take a year or 2 years or what to make a,
It depends on
whatever that policy is?
It depends on the particular, whether it's under the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, what have you. It would be that schedule that this rule would apply.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maitland.
Well, I thank the chairman, and I thank you, Dr. Orme-Zavaleta, for appearing today. I know you're in for some tough questions. The EPA cannot unilaterally decide to completely transform the way it uses science in its rulemaking. It needs to receive the